The poison you pour for others eventually fills your own cup. My dear chosen ones, lean in for a moment, because what I'm about to tell you isn't a whisper, it's a thunderclap. Some people thought they could aim their hate at you without cost. They believed they could plot in shadows and walk in daylight untouched. They mistook your quiet for weakness, your patience for permission, and your dignity for defeat. They didn't just test your limits, they tested the limits of consequence itself. And now the very poison they brewed for you is swirling back into their own veins. You've seen it, haven't you? The ones who smirked when you were hurting, the ones who scrolled past your struggles as if your pain was a punchline, the ones who made your life a target board for their jealousy. They prayed for your downfall, but now they're tripping over their own steps. They hope to see you restless at night, but it's their pillows that have turned into battlegrounds. They wanted your name dragged, but it's their own name that's now whispered with pity and disgust. They used to walk tall, but lately their confidence looks like a Wi-Fi signal at 2 bars, pretending it's strong, but everyone knows it's shaky. And you might be asking, why now? Why are the same people who seemed untouchable suddenly cracking? Let me tell you, there's a truth the world rarely speaks. Harm is never one way. Energy is never neutral. Every act of malice is an investment, and sooner or later, the universe sends the bill. Science even has a name for it: psychosomatic illness. Sickness not born from bacteria or viruses, but from the toxins of the mind and soul. You can think yourself sick, hate yourself sick, envy yourself sick, and curse yourself into a hospital bed. Now imagine years of that energy, concentrated, fermented, and weaponized. That's exactly what your enemies have done to themselves. Before we go any deeper, my dear chosen ones, take a moment to show your support. If this message is already hitting your spirit, if it's reminding you of your strength, then don't just watch, engage. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you never miss what's next. Every click, every share, every comment fuels our fire to keep creating content that awakens, empowers, and transforms. Your support isn't just for us. It's a way of saying yes to your own growth, your own healing, and your own rise. Let's keep building this movement together. Chosen ones, this is not coincidence. This is not random. This is not a lucky break. This is life itself balancing the scales. This is consequence with surgical precision. You carry a rare kind of power, the power of being chosen. That doesn't mean you're perfect or immune to pain. It means your path, your purpose, your energy has a shield built into it. People can throw stones at it, but the stones ricochet. People can spit venom at it, but the venom leaks back into the sender's bloodstream. Being chosen isn't just about surviving the attacks, it's about watching the truth reveal itself in real time. No one escapes the weight of what they unleash. Some of you are sitting there thinking, but why didn't it happen sooner? Why did they get away with it for so long? Because patience is not escape. Delay is not permission. Life lets people feast before it flips the table. It lets them dance so the fall is public, visible, undeniable. It gives them time to turn around, to stop, to change course. But when they double down, the impact multiplies. What looked like silence was really an investigation. What looked like inaction was really a trap being set. And when it springs, there's no denying what caused it. You've been carrying yourself with grace while others plotted. You've been standing in storms without shouting your pain. That wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Every moment you stayed quiet, every time you chose dignity over retaliation, you were letting the universe write your evidence. And now it's being read out loud in their lives, their sickness, their weakness, their collapse. It's not an accident. It's a mirror. It's the hidden ledger of every choice they made finally showing itself. Chosen ones, you are not just surviving. You are becoming living proof of an ancient truth. No force, no lie, no jealousy can crush what is truly protected. You don't have to argue, you don't have to explain. Their downfall argues for you. Their silence testifies in your defense. Their frailty punctuates the long sentence of cruelty they wrote. And here's the part you must hold on to. Don't gloat. Don't descend to their level. Don't waste your breath explaining why it's happening. Simply stand in your power and let the evidence speak. Because it's not just about them, it's about you. Their collapse is a billboard to the world about what happens when you tamper with a chosen one. It's your warning label, your shield, your vindication. It's proof that your energy is not to be handled carelessly. So buckle up. Today we're not sugarcoating anything. We're diving into the reality of what happens when enemies ignore every warning sign. You're about to see how sickness becomes a prophecy, how affliction becomes evidence, and how life itself proves to the world that you are untouchable. This isn't karma. This isn't coincidence. This is the enforcement of balance. And once you hear this, you'll never look at your enemy's struggles the same way again. And to every single one of you, yes, you, the chosen one reading this right now, thank you for being here. Whether this is your first time stepping into this space or you've been walking this path with us for a while, your presence is the heartbeat of this movement. If you're ready to see the hidden signs for what they are, to rise above the noise, and to step fully into the power that only a true chosen one carries, hit that like button, tap subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to mark this moment. Show your support with a super thanks if you're moved, because every gesture fuels us to bring you even deeper, life-shifting truths like this. Stay right here, because what's coming next will confirm what you've always felt in your bones. These are not random events. This is what happens when the untouchable finally becomes undeniable. Let's dive in step by step. When rot meets reality, the body always tells on the soul. The venom you store for someone else always ends up in your own bloodstream. My dear chosen ones, let's begin right here. This is where the truth stops whispering and starts screaming. What you are watching in your enemies right now is not random, not bad luck, not coincidence. It is the hidden ledger of their actions, finally being read aloud through their own bodies. They thought they could build a trap for you and walk away untouched. They thought they could serve poison at your table without tasting it themselves. But here's the reality. When you live in darkness long enough, your own body becomes the stage where that darkness performs. You've seen it. People who spend their days marinating in jealousy, gossip, and bitterness. They feed on drama as if it's breakfast. They breathe in slander like oxygen. They wrap themselves in lies like blankets. And then one day, the smile looks forced, the confidence looks shaky, and the body starts to betray the mask. Chosen ones, that's not magic. That's the inevitable consequence of their inner world finally leaking into the outer one. Hatred, envy, and malice aren't just emotions. They're toxins. And toxins don't stay quietly tucked in the heart or mind. They corrode, rot, and contaminate everything from the inside out. You might be asking yourself, why does it look so personal? Why does their downfall fit them so perfectly? Because it is. This isn't some vague misfortune. It's a tailor-made echo of what they've been feeding themselves in secret. The illness they're experiencing is not just physical. It's a confession written in flesh. It's the body saying, I can't hold the weight of this filth any longer. When someone's daily diet is gossip, when their main workout is dragging other people down, when their hobby is planting rumors, they're not destroying you. They're incubating their own collapse. They are filling their own bloodstream with venom and mistaking the rush for power. But power borrowed from poison always comes with a due date. And that date, chosen ones, is now. Think about how you've carried yourself. You stayed silent while they whispered. You rose above while they tried to drag you down. You chose dignity over retaliation. And all the while, the same energy they aimed at you was circling back to its sender, fermenting inside of them. It wasn't a punishment without cause. It was a seed they planted, nurtured and watered, now blooming as sickness. Some people around them won't connect the dots. They'll call it stress, bad luck, or just life happening. But you, chosen ones, you can see deeper. You know when rot finally meets reality. The body becomes a billboard of what's been hidden for years. This is not a random illness. It's the inevitable conclusion of a toxic inner life. And here's the twist of irony. They built a prison for you, but they're the ones now living in it. They wanted you weak, drained, and crawling to rise. Instead, that's exactly where they are. Trapped in a body that refuses to cooperate, in a life that refuses to obey their illusions of control. Their own system has become the executioner of their corruption. That's the brutal honesty of it. My dear chosen ones, hear me clearly. This isn't about gloating. This isn't about taking pleasure in someone's pain. This is about understanding the power you walk in and why you don't have to lower yourself to retaliation. Life enforces its own rules. You don't have to lift a finger. Their sickness is not an accident. It's exposure. It's evidence. It's reality telling the truth they've tried to hide. Ask yourself this. Why does their collapse look like a mirror of their behavior? Why does it feel poetic? Because energy doesn't evaporate. It transforms, it returns, it lands where it was launched. They spent so much time wishing you sleepless nights, but now their own pillows feel like battlegrounds. They prayed for your downfall, but their own legs gave out first. They built narratives to drag your name, but now their own name is being whispered with pity and disgust. Chosen ones, this is your wake-up call to stop doubting your power. Stop questioning why you're still standing while others are crumbling. You're still standing because you never filled yourself with their toxins. You're still rising because your energy wasn't built on tearing others down. Being chosen isn't just a title, it's a responsibility. It means you live differently, you hold yourself differently, and you're protected differently. That protection isn't invisible anymore. It's being written in real time across the lives of those who tried to violate your space. And maybe, somewhere deep down, you're wondering if this is permanent for them. The answer? That's not yours to control. What you're witnessing is not random, but it is instructive. It's a message to them, to you, and to anyone watching. The message is simple. When you pour poison for someone else, you drink first. When you plot harm, you're digging your own pit. And when you spend your life trying to infect others, your own system becomes the host of your infection. So stand tall, my dear chosen ones. Stand firm, not in arrogance, but in clarity. You are not just surviving attacks. You're watching life itself write your vindication. Their sickness is not a tragedy of chance. It's the confession of what they carried in the dark. And you, standing here now, are the proof that no matter how many stones they throw, truth will always bounce back. This is your power. This is your moment. And now, let's keep going. Because what's coming next will take you even deeper into how and why their fall isn't just a collapse, but a confirmation of everything you've been sensing all along. Number 1. The body never lies. Hidden hatred always finds a way to speak. When rot meets reality, the body always tells on the soul. The venom you store for someone else always ends up in your own bloodstream. My dear chosen ones, let's begin right here. This is where the truth stops whispering and starts screaming. What you are watching in your enemies right now is not random, not bad luck, not coincidence. It is the hidden ledger of their actions finally being read aloud through their own bodies. They thought they could build a trap for you and walk away untouched. They thought they could serve poison at your table without tasting it themselves. But here's the reality. When you live in darkness long enough, your own body becomes the stage where that darkness performs. You've seen it. People who spend their days marinating in jealousy, gossip, and bitterness. They feed on drama as if it's breakfast. They breathe in slander like oxygen. They wrap themselves in lies like blankets. And then one day, the smile looks forced, the confidence looks shaky, and the body starts to betray the mask. Chosen ones, that's not magic. That's the inevitable consequence of their inner world finally leaking into the outer one. Hatred, envy, and malice aren't just emotions, they're toxins. And toxins don't stay quietly tucked in the heart or mind. They corrode, rot, and contaminate everything from the inside out. You might be asking yourself, why does it look so personal? Why does their downfall fit them so perfectly? Because it is. This isn't some vague misfortune. It's a tailor-made echo of what they've been feeding themselves in secret. The illness they're experiencing is not just physical, it's a confession written in flesh. It's the body saying, I can't hold the weight of this filth any longer. When someone's daily diet is gossip, when their main workout is dragging other people down, when their hobby is planting rumors, they're not destroying you. They're incubating their own collapse. They are filling their own bloodstream with venom and mistaking the rush for power. But power borrowed from poison always comes with a due date, and that date, chosen ones, is now. Think about how you've carried yourself. You stayed silent while they whispered. You rose above while they tried to drag you down. You chose dignity over retaliation. And all the while, the same energy they aimed at you was circling back to its sender, fermenting inside of them. It wasn't a punishment without cause. It was a seed they planted, nurtured, and watered, now blooming as sickness. Some people around them won't connect the dots. They'll call it stress, bad luck, or just life happening. But you, chosen ones, you can see deeper. You know when rot finally meets reality. The body becomes a billboard of what's been hidden for years. This is not a random illness. It's the inevitable conclusion of a toxic inner life. And here's the twist of irony. They built a prison for you, but they're the ones now living in it. They wanted you weak, drained, and crawling to rise. Instead, that's exactly where they are, trapped in a body that refuses to cooperate, in a life that refuses to obey their illusions of control. Their own system has become the executioner of their corruption. That's the brutal honesty of it. My dear chosen ones, hear me clearly. This isn't about gloating. This isn't about taking pleasure in someone's pain. This is about understanding the power you walk in and why you don't have to lower yourself to retaliation. Life enforces its own rules. You don't have to lift a finger. Their sickness is not an accident. It's exposure. It's evidence. It's reality telling the truth they've tried to hide. Ask yourself this. Why does their collapse look like a mirror of their behavior? Why does it feel poetic? Because energy doesn't evaporate. It transforms. It returns. It lands where it was launched. They spent so much time wishing you sleepless nights, but now their own pillows feel like battlegrounds. They prayed for your downfall, but their own legs gave out first. They built narratives to drag your name, but now their own name is being whispered with pity and disgust. Chosen ones, this is your wake-up call to stop doubting your power. Stop questioning why you're still standing while others are crumbling. You're still standing because you never filled yourself with their toxins. You're still rising because your energy wasn't built on tearing others down. Being chosen isn't just a title, it's a responsibility. It means you live differently, you hold yourself differently, and you're protected differently. That protection isn't invisible anymore. It's being written in real time across the lives of those who tried to violate your space. And maybe somewhere deep down, you're wondering if this is permanent for them. The answer? that's not yours to control. What you're witnessing is not random, but it is instructive. It's a message to them, to you, and to anyone watching. The message is simple. When you pour poison for someone else, you drink first. When you plot harm, you're digging your own pit. And when you spend your life trying to infect others, your own system becomes the host of your infection. So stand tall, my dear chosen ones. Stand firm, not in arrogance, but in clarity. You are not just surviving attacks. You're watching life itself write your vindication. Their sickness is not a tragedy of chance. It's the confession of what they carried in the dark. And you, standing here now, are the proof that no matter how many stones they throw, truth will always bounce back. This is your power. This is your moment. And now, let's keep going. Because what's coming next will take you even deeper into how and why their fall isn't just a collapse, but a confirmation of everything you've been sensing all along. Number 2. They danced too early. The fall always waits for the loudest celebration. They ate like kings before the fall. Public glory, public collapse. The higher you climb on stolen ladders, the louder the crash when they snap. My dear chosen ones, this is where the story gets even clearer. Have you noticed how some people celebrate too soon? They throw parties over your pain. They make parades out of your setbacks. They gloat as if they've already won the war because they scored one battle. They laugh louder, post more, strut harder, believing that your silence equals surrender. They think the stage belongs to them, and for a while it looks like it does. But chosen ones, what you're seeing isn't victory, it's a setup. Life has a rhythm and it never skips a beat. When people build their celebrations on someone else's suffering, they are essentially placing their arrogance on a stage. They're turning their own hubris into a spectacle. That's why their triumph looks so big at first. It's being recorded, it's being magnified, it's being given an audience. Because when the reversal comes, and it always does, it won't be a whisper behind closed doors. It will happen on the same stage where they danced. Their victory lap becomes the runway for their downfall. Think about it, chosen ones. If their collapse happened in secret, people would dismiss it. They'd call it bad luck. They'd call it stress. They'd call it coincidence. But when the same crowd that cheered their arrogance also witnesses their unraveling, the truth writes itself. Their party becomes the context. Their collapse becomes the correction. Their own showmanship becomes the evidence that no one can ignore. You may be asking yourself, why does life even let them win first? Why not stop them before they can gloat? Because patience is not weakness. Delay is not permission. Sometimes life gives people a little rope, not to save them, but to show everyone what they'll do with it. And most of the time, they hang themselves with it. They could have used their small victory to soften, to humble, to reflect. Instead, they hardened. They mocked louder. They doubled down. They made their arrogance permanent. And by doing that, they turned patience into proof. My dear chosen ones, understand this. The timing of their rise and fall is not random. It's surgical. Their public celebration is a test they failed, and their public collapse is the evidence of that failure. It's a living warning sign for anyone else thinking of following the same path. It tells the world, this is what happens when you build your pride on someone else's pain. That's why you mustn't envy their feasts. Their tables are laced with the consequences they haven't tasted yet. There's another reason for the visibility of it all. A private smear can isolate you. It can make people doubt you, question you, even turn against you. But a public reversal after a public celebration rewrites the narrative in real time. It exposes the liar. It restores your credibility. It shifts the weight of shame from your shoulders back to theirs. Everyone who watched them gloat now watches them stumble. The stage that once belonged to their arrogance becomes the arena of their exposure. Chosen ones, this is your reassurance. You don't have to clap back, drag them online, or prove yourself to anyone. Life is already handling the timing. By letting them shine first, it ensures that their collapse cannot be written off as rumor or revenge. It becomes a billboard for accountability. It becomes a spectacle of consequence. It becomes the loudest sermon without a single word spoken. So when you see your enemies eating good, laughing loud, posting big, don't flinch, don't envy, don't doubt your power. Their feast is not their freedom. It's the prelude to the fall. It's the magnification before the exposure. It's the universe making sure the lesson will be public, undeniable, and unforgettable. And now, my dear chosen ones, hold your head high, stay steady, because as their own laughter becomes the echo that reveals them, your silence becomes your shield. What comes next is even more powerful, and it will confirm once again that your patience is never wasted. Number 3, every pain is precision made. The consequence fits the crime. Every blow finds its home. When consequences fit like a glove. The harm you design for others is the exact blueprint of your own downfall. My dear chosen ones, lean in, because this is one of the most brutal truths about consequence. What you're seeing right now isn't random, isn't vague, isn't some cosmic accident. It's precision. It's the universe writing its receipts with surgical accuracy. The sickness, the breakdowns, the chaos your enemies are facing aren't just happening to them. They're happening from them. The damage they're experiencing is a perfect echo of the damage they tried to inflict. Think about it. When someone uses their tongue like a weapon, spreading lies and cutting reputations, it's not surprising when their own voice becomes powerless, when their credibility dissolves, or when illness robs them of the very sound they once used as ammunition. When someone spends their energy crushing others, it's no shock when their own strength begins to fade and their momentum runs dry. When they plot to break your peace, their own homes become restless. When they aim to destabilize your life, their own ground starts to shake. This isn't coincidence. This is calibration. Chosen ones, you've probably noticed how almost poetic it looks, the way their suffering mirrors their behavior. That's because energy doesn't evaporate. It transfers, it loops, it lands where it originated. This is why their sickness feels so personal, so tailored, so unmistakable. It's not just an affliction, it's a confession written across their life. They can call it stress, bad luck, or fate, but deep down, they know. And you know too. You might be asking yourself, why does it hit so precisely? Why does it feel like the consequence was custom-made for them? Because it is. Life isn't sloppy. Actions aren't lost. The pattern is deliberate. When they put malice into motion, they were engineering their own outcome. It's the mirror principle. The energy you invest in harm is the energy you receive as harm. They can't claim it's unfair. They can't argue it's random. Even if they won't admit it publicly, privately, they feel the connection between their choices and their current condition. The sickness isn't an external enemy. They built it cell by cell with every act of cruelty. Their own actions became the architect of their pain. This is why, chosen ones, you don't have to retaliate. You don't have to explain or defend yourself. Precision consequence is doing the work for you. The same way they were calculated in plotting against you is the same way the outcome is calculated in returning to them. Life doesn't just settle the score, it matches the strike. Some people believe that because nothing happened immediately, nothing will happen at all. That's the trap. Delayed consequence isn't escape, it's incubation. It's time gathering evidence, time giving them a chance to change course, time letting arrogance grow so the fall is undeniable. And when it finally hits, it's targeted. It lands exactly where it should, like an arrow finding the bullseye. Chosen ones, this is your reminder that what you're seeing isn't just about their sickness, it's about your vindication. It's a message to the spectators who doubted you, to the bystanders who watched in silence. Their downfall is a living testimony that no one escapes the return on their investment. Every action plants a seed. Every seed produces a harvest. Every wrong finds its echo. And when the echo comes back, it sounds exactly like the original note. So stand tall. You are not witnessing random chaos. You're witnessing customized consequence. You're seeing proof that life, energy, and truth have a way of delivering precise justice without you lifting a single finger. The sickness they're living inside isn't an accident. It's the mirror of what they've been carrying for years. And you, chosen ones, are standing as the quiet evidence that clean hands, steady hearts, and resilience always outlast schemes built on poison. This is the power of being chosen. You're not just protected, you're a witness. Every collapse around you becomes a living reminder that some forces are exact, some shields are unbreakable, and some lives cannot be touched without consequence circling back like a boomerang. And now, stay with me, because what's coming next will go even deeper into how their downfall isn't just a punishment, but a public message that confirms everything you've been sensing all along. Number 4. When the body says, enough, the universe issues its own cease and desist. Their sickness is life's cease and desist letter. The hands you used to harm will one day be too weak to lift. My dear chosen ones, this is the moment where life itself steps in and does what you could never do on your own. What you're witnessing right now isn't chance, and it isn't random. It's not karma, it's not luck. It's a cease and desist order written by consequence itself. When someone crosses line after line, when they use their voice, their reach, their energy to wound, manipulate, and intimidate, life eventually steps on the brake. It doesn't erase them, it slows them down. It forces them to watch their own tools of harm slide out of their hands. Look at them now. The ones who once moved like predators through your space are suddenly stuck inside their own bodies. The voice they used as a weapon now trembles. The stamina they boasted about now flickers. The reach they had feels smaller, weaker, less convincing. This isn't theatrics, this is surgical. The same force that allowed them to run unchecked is now pressing pause, not to kill them but to stop the bleeding, yours and theirs. Chosen ones, understand this. Life's version of justice isn't always dramatic. It isn't always lightning bolts and explosions. Sometimes it's an interruption, a sudden hand on the brake, a slowing down so obvious everyone can see it. This pause isn't designed to satisfy your anger. It's designed to contain the damage. It's the universe saying, enough. You don't get to keep swinging while pretending to be clean. And while they're frozen in that pause, something powerful happens for you. Smear campaigns lose momentum. Lies die at their source. Plots wither without the person who feeds them daily. You get space to rebuild your name in plain view. People who once doubted you start to reassess because the aggressor can no longer keep their narrative alive. This isn't subtle, it's blunt, public, and unmistakable. The instruments of harm have been unplugged. There's another layer to this: humiliation as a teacher. Being stopped in private is one thing. Being slowed down in front of an audience is another. The swagger they once performed gets stripped away. They're reduced to the very state they tried to force on you, weak, limited, fighting to stand. That public weakness is not just punishment, it's an opportunity. It can either break a person or crack them open to truth. In the pause, there is still a chance to change, to face what they've done, to reckon with their motives. But humility is unavoidable. My dear chosen ones, don't mistake this for revenge. This isn't about spectacle. This is about protection and exposure. By leaving them alive but incapacitated, life keeps the lesson visible. People can see the outcome of cruelty without the cover of conspiracy or excuses. The sick person becomes a walking notice to anyone tempted to follow the same path. This is what happens when you cross boundaries you shouldn't cross. This is why you don't have to shout. You don't have to prove anything. Life is already holding up a mirror. Their sickness, their weakness, their pause is the mirror. It says plainly to everyone watching, your power isn't endless, your reach isn't infinite, and your actions will circle back. Chosen ones, hold your head high. What's happening right now is your breathing space. It's your restoration. It's the evidence that what tried to crush you has been contained. And it's a warning to every spectator, the ones thinking about trying you next, that even patience has a breaking point. So stay grounded, stay clear. This isn't your doing. This is the consequence of their doing. Their sickness is life's cease and desist letter, a public pause designed to protect you, expose them, and write a lesson the whole room can read. And now we'll go even deeper into the next revelation, because what comes after the pause will confirm everything you've suspected about your own untouchability. Number 5. They laughed at your scars, now they bleed from the same wounds. Mocking someone's pain is the fastest way to book your own turn in the fire. My dear chosen ones, this one cuts deep. The people who once found joy in your pain are now choking on the same laughter they used against you. They made your struggles their entertainment, turned your setbacks into social currency, and thought that every tear you shed was proof of their superiority. But the tables have turned, and not quietly. The same stage where they once performed your downfall has become the scene of their own unraveling. They treated your wounds like content, scrolling, sharing, smirking, as if pain was something they could profit from. They measured their worth by how publicly they could humiliate you, how confidently they could downplay your suffering. But life, chosen ones, has a sharp sense of irony. The spotlight they used to expose you has swung around, and now it's burning through the mask they wore. Their weakness, their failures, their sickness, it's all unfolding in public view, unfiltered and undeniable. You might be asking, why does it look so poetic? Why does their collapse mirror what they did to me? Because energy doesn't disappear, it multiplies. When they laughed at your pain, they taught others that cruelty was acceptable, that empathy was optional. Now that same crowd is watching them fall, and the silence is deafening. The laughter they once commanded has turned into whispers. The same people who clapped for their jokes now watch with cold curiosity as their confidence crumbles. The applause they lived for has turned into the echo of their own mockery. Chosen ones, this is more than karma, it's a mirror. When someone uses another person's pain as fuel, they forget that the crowd they train learns quickly. They conditioned people to treat suffering like a sport. So when their own sickness appeared, when their own body betrayed them, those same observers responded exactly as taught, with distance, gossip, and a smirk. The cruelty they normalized became the language of their own downfall. They are not just sick, they are living inside the theater they built for you, forced to play the role they once mocked. And you, standing on the other side of that reversal, must understand the power of this moment. Their pain is not your victory, it's your confirmation. You don't need revenge. You don't need to defend your story. The universe is already doing the translation for you. The people who couldn't see your worth when you were wounded are now learning what it feels like to be seen through the same merciless lens. But there's a deeper layer here, chosen ones. Mockery was their armor. They wore cruelty like confidence. The laughter was a mask, loud, bold, and hollow. When they ridiculed others, it wasn't because they were strong. It was because they were terrified of being exposed. Now that their own suffering has arrived, the mask has cracked. The fake laughter has evaporated, and what's left is the raw, unfiltered truth of who they are without the performance. This is the moment of exposure. No scripts, no spin, just reality. The same people who joked about your scars now find themselves bleeding in front of the same audience, and there's no way to edit this scene. The sickness stripped away their illusion of control, their curated image, their carefully constructed superiority. What remains is humanity, fragile, humbled, and undeniable. And while that might sound like punishment, it's actually education. Their collapse isn't just a warning for them, it's a lesson for everyone watching. People are learning that cruelty carries a price, that mocking pain plants seeds that grow into humiliation. This reversal isn't random, it's corrective. It shifts the culture. It reminds everyone that empathy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. So my dear chosen ones, remember this. You never needed to defend yourself from their laughter. The truth has done it for you. Every time they mocked you, they were writing their own script of downfall. Every time they twisted your story for entertainment, they were rehearsing their own exposure. And now, their suffering is not an act. It's evidence. The ones who once laughed at your pain are now the object lesson. Their tears are the mirror reflecting everything they tried to hide. They mocked your wounds, and now they're forced to wear their own. The balance has arrived, not with noise, but with precision. So stand tall, chosen ones. You didn't just survive the ridicule, you outlasted it. And now the world is watching the same people who once laughed at your scars learn what it truly means to bleed. Number 6. Silence is the new sentence. The mouth that harmed now chokes on its echo. When the noise dies, the predator's voice becomes its own prison. Those who sharpen their tongues into weapons always end up cutting their own throats. My dear chosen ones, listen closely. There's a shift happening right now that's bigger than any rumor, louder than any smear campaign. The very people who once used their mouths as weapons against you are discovering what silence really feels like. For years they treated sound like ammunition, lies dressed up as facts, whispers turned into wildfire, insults sharpened into a broadcast meant to bruise you. They built influence out of rumors, steered crowds with falsehoods, and bruised hearts with their declarations. Speech was their engine of harm. But here's the thing about engines built on destruction. They don't run forever. Eventually they choke on their own fuel. Chosen ones, what you're witnessing now is not random. It's not luck. It's precision. Life itself has pressed pause on their noise. The illness they're facing isn't designed to erase them. It's designed to neutralize them. It's not finality. It's containment. Their voice, once their strongest weapon, is now their silence. The same tongue that stirred storms can't even form a wind. The broadcast has gone static. The constant drip of accusations has dried up. And in the clearing that follows, truth begins to breathe again. Think about how this feels on the inside for them. A person who built power on manipulation suddenly finds the microphone ripped away. Their words can't land. Their audience starts drifting. The campaigns that needed constant feeding starve in neglect. Narratives collapse without daily repetition. People who depended on their voice to validate lies are now left unmoored. The predator that lived on noise is forced into quiet, and quiet is where truth lives. You may be wondering, why silence instead of destruction? Why didn't life just wipe them off the board? Because this isn't about annihilation. This is about accountability. This is about creating a mirror they can't look away from. When someone who used words to wound is suddenly muted, they face a rare, unavoidable mirror. Silence is more than absence. It's a teacher. In silence, there's nowhere to run from your own reflection. And here's the fork in the road, chosen ones. The enforced stillness can become either a doorway or a dungeon. For some, it's a doorway to reckoning, a chance to confront what they've done and why. For others, it's a dungeon where resentment festers. Life gives them that choice. But either way, the damage stops. The smear campaigns lose momentum. Gossip stalls. Conspiracies lose shape. People who were bullied or gaslit finally have space to rebuild their voice without the shadow of a louder liar drowning them out. This is what makes their silence more than just a pause. It's a rebalancing. The noisy predator is muted long enough for the wounded to be restored. You get to reclaim your space. The truth gets to stand without being heckled, and the world gets to see what reality looks like when the static fades. Chosen ones, this is your proof. You never had to shout them down. You never had to match their noise. You just had to hold your ground long enough for the noise to choke itself out. And that's exactly what's happening. Their sickness isn't a punishment. It's the gag that takes away their weapon. It's a neutralization of harm without erasing the person. It's the universe saying, enough. This stops here. And for you, this is your moment to breathe, rebuild, and rise without interruption. Let the silence speak its own language. Accountability, protection, the possibility that what was once weaponized might one day be rebuilt into something that heals instead of harms. This is not just their consequence, it's your confirmation. Confirmation that no matter how loud the lie, the truth always waits for its turn. And now, chosen ones, that turn is here. Number 7. Crossing boundaries. Has receipts. Energy always marks the line you shouldn't cross. The sickness is the signature of the line they crossed. When you trespass into a space that isn't yours, the ground itself rises to throw you out. My dear chosen ones, lean in. This is the part where everything becomes undeniable. What you're seeing right now in your enemies isn't random illness or bad timing. It's evidence. It's not a vague warning. It's a signature written in their own bodies confirming they crossed a line they were never meant to touch. They thought they were dealing with ordinary rivalry, but you're not ordinary. They didn't just attack a person. They tampered with a force they couldn't see. Chosen ones, you carry protections that aren't stamped on your forehead, but they're real all the same. Your path is wrapped in boundaries even your enemies can't read. But crossing them has a cost. People mistake your calm for a blank check. They think your silence is weakness and your restraint is consent. They don't understand that patience is not permission. And when they finally reach too far, the return is swift, precise, and undeniable. That's what you're watching now, life itself drawing a red circle around their actions and saying, this is the moment you went too far. Their sickness is not punishment for punishment's sake. It's a record. It's courtroom proof without the courtroom. It ties their trespass back to the act with such clarity that excuses crumble. You can almost see the chain reaction. First the attack, then the smug celebration, then the unexplained collapse. To outsiders, it might look like stress or coincidence. But to those with eyes to see, it's testimony in real time. The body becomes the affidavit. The symptoms become the confession. And here's the beauty in it for you, chosen ones. You don't have to argue. You don't have to defend yourself against the stories they've spun. You don't even have to explain why you're still standing. Their downfall explains it for you. Their sickness tells the truth louder than your words ever could. The narrative they built about you begins to dissolve under the weight of their own consequences. People start connecting dots on their own. Attack, then celebration, then collapse. Even the ones who doubted you begin to see the pattern. This is more than poetic justice. It's the enforcement of boundaries. It's the logic of cause and effect. They stepped into territory reserved for something bigger than themselves, and now the response matches the trespass. It's pointed, it's proportional, it's unmistakable. Their health, their reputation, their influence, all of it begins to erode in a way that mirrors exactly what they tried to erode in you. Notice how public it is. Life could have corrected them quietly. The sickness could have been invisible, but no, this is a public correction. The record is being set straight in front of witnesses. What was hidden is being dragged into the light. The same crowd that once believed their lies now watches their collapse. The moral weight that was unfairly placed on you is being shifted back where it belongs. This is vindication you don't have to manufacture. It's happening without your input, without your effort. Chosen ones, hold on to this truth. There are lines you don't cross. Your enemies are learning that too late. The sickness they're carrying isn't just a physical condition. It's a warning label for anyone thinking of trying the same thing. It says in no uncertain terms, some targets are marked, some boundaries are untouchable. Violate them, and the response will be tailored to your affront. And the power in this for you. You get to walk forward clean. You get to live without bitterness, because life itself does the balancing. You don't have to swing back. You don't have to prove your worth. You are the worth. You are the proof. Their sickness is not your revenge. It's the natural echo of their own actions. It restores balance, exposes the trespasser, and warns the rest who might be tempted to test the limits around you. So stand tall, my dear chosen ones. You are not just surviving, you are becoming living evidence that some boundaries are real, even when they're invisible. And those who ignore that truth discover it the hard way, written not in ink, but in their own bones. Number 8. The ripple that never dies. Their choices rewrote their legacy. When pain becomes inheritance, the ripple they started doesn't end with them. A stone thrown into a lake never sinks alone. Its ripples touch every shore. My dear chosen ones, let's go deeper now. What your enemies are facing isn't just a personal sickness, it's a legacy unraveling. What you're witnessing in their bodies is only the first visible crack. The tremors travel far beyond their skin. This is not a random event. This is the echo of a choice that never truly belonged to them alone. They thought their actions stopped at you. They believed that targeting you was an isolated act, something that would only bruise your life and leave theirs untouched. But chosen ones, when people come for you, they're not just trespassing into your personal space. They're stepping into a force with a long memory. Actions against a chosen one do not fade quietly. They ripple. Those ripples don't care about excuses or distance. They travel through relationships, through households, through legacies. Look closer. Have you ever noticed how certain patterns repeat in families? The same struggles echo across generations. The same obstacles appear, like weeds sprouting from the same soil. That isn't superstition, it's momentum. Energy does not vanish when the person who launched it walks away. It stays, it imprints, it waits. When someone chooses malice over integrity, that malice does not politely disappear after the act. It embeds itself in their system, their habits, their decisions, and yes, their bloodline. This isn't about punishment for the innocent. It's about the simple, brutal reality of cause and effect. You cannot pour poison into a river and then claim shock when the fish downstream die. You cannot train a household to feed on envy and not expect its children to feel the hunger. That's what your enemies never understood. The attacks on you were never just attacks on one person. They were seeds being sown into their own soil, and seeds grow. Chosen ones, understand what this means for you. Their sickness is not just a momentary symptom, it's a living record of the boundary they crossed. It's proof written in real time that energy doesn't stop at a single life. It flows, it collects interest, it passes on. This is why their collapse feels larger than a single person falling. It feels like an entire line bending under the weight of one decision. And some of you might be thinking, but isn't that too harsh? Why should their children suffer? The truth is, cycles don't punish, they teach. Patterns repeat until someone breaks them. The fallout that's reaching their lineage isn't an arbitrary strike. It's a demand for reckoning. It's life saying, this ends now. Just as harm can echo, so can healing. But healing requires honesty, humility, and a decision to stop feeding the same poison. Without that decision, the ripple continues. So while their descendants may face struggles or obstacles, those struggles aren't random cruelty. They're the weight of lessons unlearned. They're the signal flare for the next generation to choose differently. This is the real cost of violating a boundary you can't see. Attacking a chosen one is never a private matter. It's never contained. It's not a quick act of spite. It's a trespass with a long memory, one that outlives the offender and writes itself into time. And here's what I need you to hold on to. Chosen ones. You don't have to argue your case. You don't have to prove who started what. The evidence speaks louder than any defense. What you're seeing is not just their health failing, but their legacy bending. It's the visible stakes of crossing someone who was never just someone. It's a living testament to your untouchability. The truth is, their war against you was never just a personal feud. It was a collision with something much larger than they understood. And now their sickness confirms it. This is not just about bodies breaking down. It's about lives, names, and patterns being forced to face the energy they unleashed. The echoes of their choices are louder than their excuses. And you, chosen ones, stand here as the proof that even ripples cannot drown what was meant to rise. Number 9. They cursed you but became the proof of their own words. They cast the stone, but became the target. The trap you dig for someone else always knows your address. My dear chosen ones, lean in close because this part is where the story flips. The same people who whispered for your downfall, who plotted and schemed behind closed doors, are now walking straight into the very pit they dug. Every curse they spoke, every rumor they built, every subtle move they made to break you apart has started to orbit back to its source. They prayed for your collapse, but became the answer to their own prayer. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's the way energy moves in this world, like a boomerang that never forgets where it was thrown from. People love to believe their malice is invisible, that their thoughts are harmless until spoken, that their words are weightless once released. But words are not feathers, intentions are not smoke. Every insult, every lie, every manipulation is an investment. Energy follows intention, and intention has momentum. When they poured all that venom into you, chosen ones, it didn't vanish. It circled, it compounded, it waited. And now it's landing, not on you, but on them. Think of it like an echo in a canyon. You shout, and sooner or later, your own voice comes back. Only now it's louder, rawer, undeniable. That's what's happening to the ones who targeted you. The disease they're facing, the weakness creeping into their lives, the humiliation they're suddenly tasting, none of it is random. It's the unavoidable return of energy misused. They built their own trap, and now they are caught in it. They thought they were dismantling you, but all they were doing was dismantling the balance in their own lives. And here's the part they never saw coming: exposure. They believed they could operate in shadows, hurling their attacks without ever being traced. They thought silence would protect them, that no one would connect the dots between their actions and their reality. But energy doesn't respect hiding places. It finds the source. It tags the sender. The sickness you're watching unfold in them isn't just pain. It's evidence. It's their own schemes tattooed onto their lives. Their bodies have become the testimony of their cruelty. Their circumstances have become a living affidavit. The chaos they tried to project onto you is now tattooed across their own existence for everyone to see. Chosen ones, this isn't just poetic justice. It's universal law in motion. Energy returns to sender because imbalance cannot survive indefinitely. You can't dismantle someone's life, reputation, or destiny without dismantling parts of your own. They underestimated that law. They thought their power lived in the target, that if they just aimed hard enough at you, you'd break. But the real power always lives in the sender. It's their energy, their intention, their consequence. And when it comes back, it comes amplified, as if life itself is making an example out of them. And maybe you've wondered, why me? Why did I have to be the target for so long? Because, chosen ones, you're built to endure and outlast. You're built to show the pattern. You're not just surviving. You're demonstrating a truth to the world, that you can't take someone down without paying a cost. Their downfall is the mirror of their intent. Their sickness is the echo of their curses. Their humiliation is the bill they wrote with their own hands. What you're seeing now is a story they cannot rewrite. Every act of harm aimed at you has become a mirror reflecting their own intentions back at them. This isn't revenge. This isn't superstition. This is the natural boomerang of consequence doing what it always does, returning energy to its source. They preyed on your destruction, but they became the answer to their own prayer. My dear chosen ones, take this as confirmation of your power. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to explain. Life itself handles the accounting. All you have to do is keep walking, keep rising, keep building. Because every time you stand tall while others crumble under their own weight, you prove a truth far louder than any argument. Nothing aimed at you survives the return trip back to its sender. And now, let's step further, because the next part reveals how their downfall isn't just consequence. It's a public confirmation of the shield you've carried all along. And now, chosen ones, you've seen it from every angle. You've walked with me through each layer, each revelation, and each unmasking. You've seen how every plot they built became a pit for themselves, how every whisper against you became an echo they couldn't escape. This isn't coincidence. This isn't superstition. This is the raw pattern of cause and effect, written so clearly that even the blind can feel it. What you're witnessing in your enemies is not random sickness. It's the living receipt of what they invested in darkness. So let this settle deep inside you. Your endurance has not been wasted. Your patience has not been weakness. Every silent step you've taken has been building proof, and now that proof is playing out in real time. This is your confirmation. This is your evidence. This is your reminder that when you walk as a chosen one, you don't need to fight dirty. Life does the accounting for you. And because you're still here, still rising, still standing in the middle of all this, I want you to do one thing right now. If this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of your power, your resilience, your untouchability, hit the like button right now. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next piece of truth we're about to drop. Drop the number 77 in the comments to mark the moment you reclaimed your power, and share this video with someone who needs to know that everything aimed at them is already on its way back to the sender. This is more than a video, it's a movement, and your engagement is what keeps it alive, what allows us to keep pouring this kind of raw, life-shifting content straight into your hands. Stay tuned, chosen ones. The story isn't over. This is only the beginning of your rise.